Today we have with us another eminent person as special guest, Dr. A.M. Murthy. I would like to present his brief biodata. Professor A.M. Murthy, after having served for 4 decades in the field of physical education at different institutes of higher learning, has taken up the mantle of Vice Chancellor of Tamil Nadu Physical Education and Sports University. Apart from his physical education qualifications, he has also completed master's degree in yoga, sports physiotherapy, and sports medicine. He has served as member and convener in many committees of various universities, namely Alagappa University, Madurai Kamraj University, Bharatiyar University, Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs, New Delhi, and American Biographical Institute. He is also the Associate Editor of Journal of Fitness Society of India, International Journal of Fitness, Gwalior. He has guided 82 scholars for the award of doctoral degree and 396 scholars for the award of Master of Philosophy in Physical Education. He also completed 14 funded projects from UGC, state government, and other agencies. Professor A.M. Murthy has published more than 8 books and 65 articles and research papers nationally and internationally on physical education and yoga. He has received many awards, namely Best Teacher, awarded by College of Physical Education, Pradhatur, Andhra Pradesh; Man of the Year 1997, awarded by the American Biographical Institute, North Carolina, USA, for the overall accomplishments and contributions to the society; Vikas Ratan Gold Award by International Integration and Growth Society, New Delhi in 2002, and Vijay Shri Award given by Indian International Friendship Society, New Delhi in 2006. Now I respectfully call upon the special guest, Dr. A.M. Murthy, Vice Chancellor, Tamil Nadu Physical Education and Sports University, to deliver the special address on emerging trends in physical education.
Good evening to everybody. His Holiness Swami Atma Priyanandaji, His Holiness Swami Abhivanandaji, and most honorable change in education and physical education, that is none than Professor Sandhush Pandaji, a scientist who has made a lot of contribution to India, not only India, in the world map, Dr. Mailswamy Annadurai, Dr. N. Muthaiah, that is a Honorable Dean of this institute, Deputy Registrar, presently in charge Registrar of this Vivekananda University, Dr. Alageshan, Dean of the faculty in this institution, and also the organizer of the Brahmachariji, and all Manianji I know from the long, where my brother was studied here in the Krishnamurti, and my brother worked in the Rural Institute. I came just like a Mailswamy Annadurai. My brother brought 1965, if I correctly remember, to join here. I could not get a seat. After that I went, and today I am here. I must thank Ayya, which I had been chanced to sit along with him to take meals. That was the occasion many times in this. Professor Manian may be knowing that my history, where I was in the Vivekananda Ramakrishna Vidyalaya, I was so associated. Dr. Sai Kumar, Dr. Sebastian, and management of these things, and invited guests, press people, my dear student friends. Today, I came here at the request of Swamiji to tell you a few things. What are the trends are there? Today in the field of physical education, you are going to be graduates. I feel proud to present this special address on the occasion of the convocation of the Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda University. Because Swami Vivekananda is the eternal Lord of meditation, a symbol of divine love, spirituality, and service and the prophet of the new age of creativity. Whatever action a great man performs, common man follow. Whatever standards he set, the world follows, set in Bhagavad Gita. Physical education is a philosophy about life and living. It is an art, come culture, come science of successful living. It is the sovereign remedy for all worldly miseries. It is a science of beings, evolution, and balanced intellectualism. It is a science of the integrated personality. It is a living tradition and proven system of realizing divinity. What Swami Vivekananda coins. Thus, physical education is the grandest of all sciences. Today, more than at any other time in the history of humanity, people are facing a lot of problems and painful experience that are behind their control. People are forced to live an unnatural and abnormal life, suffering with the pollution, adulteration, drug deficiency on an unprecedented scale. Health status of Indians is alarming and apprehensive. More than 75% of the Indians are having either this disease or that disease. For your kind information, 50% of the disease can be self-controlled. 83% of all death before 65 years can be preventable. Fitness status of Indian is also not appreciable. 85% of the people lead sedentary life. India does well to keep 96% of the children between 6 and 14 years of age enrolled in schools, but the problem is now fitness. Among 24 crore Indian children, 43% have no fitness. 35% of the children have less lung efficiency. 60% of the children do not have basic movement skills. 84% of the adolescents are not doing any physical activity at all. Our lung efficiency is 30% weaker than the Europeans. Physical activities promote one's total well-being. Dear friends, more than ever before, we must be ready to think and act every problem afresh, to change and innovate. At the same time, we are no longer being mute spectators in sports, but we are ahead of sporting and fitness revolution in India. Japan was nobody in global football. When it started its profession, J-League in 1993, the legacy in Japan made it to every World Cup since 1998. Keeping our strength in few sports like badminton, boxing, cricket, shooting, tennis, and wrestling, India can grow fast in sports and games comprehensively. India's medal tally has improved over the last couple of Olympic Games. The encouragement given by Indians nowadays in sporting is astonishing. 63 crore Indians watched the ICC Cricket 2015 World Cup through television. Every second Indian watched those matches. It was a record in Indian television. 56 crore Indians wanted for IPL cricket, 43 crore of Pro Kabaddi, 41 crore for ISL in football, 15 crore for FIBA World Cup, 12 crore for Indians watched hockey, Indian League last year. Dhoni was a ranked number 9, the most popular sports figure in the world. His $31 million earning in cricket last year was on par with the Brazilian football person. More than 40 crore rupees have been allotted by the central government exclusively to 84 sports person in India under the Target Olympic podium. Scheme to win medal in Rio Olympics. Physical education has been one of the key areas that have seen our Chief Minister Amma paying special attention to. Many new innovatives have been taken by her for better Tamil Nadu during the last 4 years. These include Chief Minister Trophy sports competition are held every year at a cost of more than 21 crore rupees. Cash initiatives enhanced from rupees 20 lakhs to rupees 50 lakhs for gold medalists in Asian and Commonwealth Games, rupees 2 crore for Olympic gold medalists. Our Chief Minister made yogic practice, particularly meditation, compulsory for 15 minutes every day in Tamil Nadu schools. Our goal is high. Our vision is clear. Our victory is decisive. We are in right path to make this world of our Chief Minister into reality. Dear students, beware of negativities in sports. Conventional doping with drugs such as steroids, blood boosters, growth hormones, gene doping and technological doping are really a means in sports. Of course, most of the athletes want to be clean. We have to value the clean sports environment for better world. Sports can be an ideal forum for resuming social dialogue and bridging divides, highlighting the similarities between people and breaking down prejudice, says the United Nations report. Dear physical educators, powerful leadership, a bold vision of its mission and goals, and a clear strategy planned to translate our aim into concentrate programs are the need of the hour in physical education. Knowledge, its application, lead to technological dynamism and innovation leading to economic development. Strong knowledge base is necessary foundation. Not only intelligent quotient, but also the moral, social, emotional, and spiritual quotient has now become one of the major criterions when it comes to judge a child potential. Special attention is to be given to the differently abled person. The new world of smart boards and audiovisual proved to be a hit among learners and teachers. Such technological tools improve participation and overall personality enhancement. Advancement in technology has given new dimension to rapport of the student and teachers. Theme-based learning projects, based learning and collaborative learning, and digital literacy are the order of the day. You have to make use of the advancement in technology in physical education. Creativity, availability, affordability should be your new mantras. Expanding frontiers of the habitual universe, development in communication and other technological improvements will thus influence the future career in physical education. According to the study done by the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, India needs 3 lakh sports support personnel by the year 2017. The projected human resources requirement for next 10 years in the field of sports medicine done in the more than 4 lakhs. Opportunity for qualified physical educators in fitness, health and therapy, wellness, career apartment from teaching and coaching will continue to increase in the near future. Not only in India but also abroad. To the next decade or generation, you will need to make many choices. The job opportunities in physical education are bright, but only physical educators like you must determine how much the brightness and the welfare of the society. Explore new frontiers, new avenues, be creative, innovative. Last, I want to tell Swami Vivekananda. He said, do not forget, said rightly, only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. I must thank all of you and Swamiji who has given me to talk or to read this one. Mostly this is the first time I am reading. Otherwise I will extremely only talking in everywhere. This is the first time I prepared myself and I have given with the statistical. I wish you all the best for the physical education teacher who is going to be a teacher. Now you are graduated. I must thank all the audience and parents and the press people, all others. I must fold that hand. I must thank the Swamijis who have given me this opportunity. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Now the presentation of graduates begins. In total, 222 students will receive their degrees, 95 from the Faculty of Disability Management and Special Education, and 127 from the Faculty of General and Adapted Physical Education and Yoga. The details are as follows. PhD in Special Education, 3, MPhil in Special Education, 1, MEd in Special Education, 13, B.Ed in Special Education, 70, Diploma in Special Education, 3, Diploma in Sign Language Interpretation, 5, PhD in Physical Education and Physiotherapy, 6, MPhil in Physical Education, 7, MPEd in Physical Education, 28, BPEd in Physical Education, 50, DPEd in Physical Education, 24, and BSc in Physical Education, 12. Total 222.
I now request revered Swami Abhiramananda Ji Maharaj, Administrative Head, to present these scholars to the Vice Chancellor Swami Atma Priyananda Ji Maharaj.
I request all the graduating students to please stand up. Revered Swami Atma Priyananda Ji Maharaj, I present to you the PhD and MPhil scholars and undergraduate, postgraduates and diploma holders of the Faculty of Disability Management and Special Education and the Faculty of General and Adapted Physical Education and Yoga, who have fulfilled the statutory requirement laid down by the Board of Management of the Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda University, that they may be admitted to their degrees and diplomas.
As per the authority vested on me as the Vice Chancellor of the University, I hereby admit you to your degrees and diplomas with all the rights and privileges appertaining thereto. I further charge you to be worthy of these degrees and diplomas from this university bearing the hallowed name of Swami Vivekananda, striving to follow to the letter and the spirit the sacred vows you are being administered today for developing yourself to be men and women of impeccable character and harmoniously developed personalities as envisioned by Swami Vivekananda.
The students may now please take their seats.
Thank you, Maharaj. Now, Professor Santosh Panda, Chairperson, National Council for Teacher Education, New Delhi, will deliver the convocation address. I would like to present his brief biodata. Professor Santosh Panda is currently holding an esteemed position as the Chairman, National Council for Teacher Education, NCTE, New Delhi. After obtaining PhD in Education in 1984, he started teaching in Faculty of Education, Kurukshetra University, and then joined the Indira Gandhi National Open University in 1987 and became a professor in 1997. He has also been a senior Fulbright scholar in the USA. Earlier, he has served as Director, Association of Indian Universities, Director, Staff Training and Research Institute, and Founding Director, Inter-University Consortium at IGNOU, Director, Center for Flexible and Distance Learning, University of South Pacific, and Visiting Adjunct Professor at University of London, Manchester Metropolitan University, and University of Maryland. During the past 28 years of university teaching, research, administration, he has provided consultancy for British Council, Commonwealth of Learning, IDRC, UNDP, UNESCO, World Bank, Ford Foundation, and governments of China, Nepal, Lesotho, and Nigeria. He served as a consultant to Government of India for training bureaucrats through distance and online modes. He has visited over 25 countries for promoting various academic, research, and extension activities. Dr. Panda has published more than 16 books, 32 book chapters, and 48 articles and research papers nationally and internationally. He is a member of the editorial board of over 15 internationally refereed journals, including Merlot Journal of Online Learning and Teaching USA, International Journal of Educational Media USA, International Journal for the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning USA, International Review of Research in Open and Distance Learning Canada, and Journal of Research in Learning Technology, Routledge, UK. May I now request Professor Santosh Panda, Chairperson NCTE, to deliver the convocation address.
Honorable Swami Atma Priyananda Ji, Vice Chancellor, Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda University, Swami Abhiramananda Ji, Secretary, Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya, Dr. Annadurai, who just delivered Swami Abhinaslingam Memorial Lecture, our good friend Professor Murthy, Vice Chancellor Tamil Nadu Sports University, Dr. Muthaiya, my teacher Professor Mani, Registrar, Controller of the University, other distinguished officials, distinguished faculty members, educators, all the revered monks, and my dear students. It gives me an immense pleasure indeed, and it's an honor to be amongst all of you today to deliver the convocation address of this very visionary and enlightened university, of which I had been a small part in the past, as Swamiji has already said, as member of the Academic Council, the first Academic Council of Vivekananda University. It's all the more satisfying to be associated with it in many ways. As you see on the screen, Swamiji, the Vice Chancellor, has been guiding us at NCTE to take indigenous knowledge, including the teachings of Swami Vivekanandaji, to the co-foundation of teacher education. This is the first work on Swami Vivekananda that you see on the screen that we released, which has been made compulsory and part of the all teacher education programs that we at NCT recognized. Our celebration of Swami Vivekanandaji's teachings in the form of learning resources that you see on the screen, and in many more to come up, and putting this into foundational teachings in teacher education curriculum, and especially my involvement today in the convocation of this university, and maybe many more things to come in future. I remember almost 16 years back to have visited Ramakrishna Mission College of Education to Professor Mani, who headed one of the finest, not only in this country, internationally, one of the finest laboratories in special education. Today is a day where largely special education and yoga graduates would be receiving their degrees, has almost received their degrees already. I must very categorically say the yoga center, more particularly the special education center of this university located in Coimbatore, is one of the finest in the world. Of course, the credit goes to Professor Mani and to all distinguished leaders of the Swami Vivekananda University who have steered, including the current Vice Chancellor, more importantly, Swami Atma Priyanandaji. As you see on the screen, these are the stakeholders who are very much concerned with education and more so in teacher education. The policymakers, they're largely interested in cost-benefit measures, especially increasing in norm-referenced and criterion-referenced testing. Teachers are more concerned with making learning an active and engaging experience. The parents who have invested money in their kids, they want them to be good human beings, though with employable skills. The evaluators are always concerned that learning should be comprehensively and continuously evaluated. That's what the continuing comprehensive evaluation of CBSE is all about. And the employers, very difficult people. The employers want multi-skills, innovative decision-making, leading, and leaders who could establish a strategic niche. This is what is expected of a graduate today. The graduate has to satisfy all these kinds of stakeholders who are interested in looking at the future of that guy who is graduating. I do hope that all the graduates who are graduating today, especially in special education, physical education, and yoga, would fall into the commitment that is made in this PowerPoint. And I'm sure the education that has been provided by this university has equipped you to fulfill the criteria that are presented to you for your consideration and for your reflection. The National Council for Teacher Education, I will say teacher education today, is in a state of transition. No professional education, for that matter, no education other than the well-established commissions by the government, state governments and federal government of India. No professional education has been strictly, comprehensively scrutinized for transformation by none other than the apex court of the country, the Honorable Supreme Court of India. I would say it was unfortunate, but I would say this was an opportunity for teacher education of this country to be scrutinized categorically and comprehensively by the Honorable Supreme Court of India, and therefore the Honorable Justice Verma Commission, who was the former Chief Justice of India, led the commission to its reform. NCTE and therefore the Government of India were duty bound to translate recommendations of the Justice Verma Commission as the word was given to the Parliament to reality. And therefore NCTE today, I must very emphatically say, has fulfilled the promises of the Justice Verma Commission and transforming teacher education today. The teacher education that you see today and that you will see for immediate future will not be same teacher education that was existing yesterday, except that the same buildings continue, except that the same old practices might continue, except the same non-transparency and, if I'm allowed to say, corrupt practices might continue for quite some time. But we are duty bound with this new regulation 2014 that we will be in a position legally to take recourse to a situation whereby we would like to establish transparency and we would like to establish accountability. As you see on the screen, it may not be visible to you, I will read out for you. There are today 18,000 plus teacher education institutions, from which more than 1.4 million, that is 14 lakh student teachers are graduating, including you. This is one of the largest systems in the world, the second largest in this country after University Grants Commission. The teacher education today has become a huge system. I will not say very difficult to manage, but certainly it is difficult to comprehend the breadth and length of this system, and therefore it would be not difficult, not impossible, but it would be certainly difficult to manage the transition that has been put up by the Honorable Supreme Court of India. As you see on the screen, almost 90% institutions are private, including the university that we are right now. But some of the such universities, including Swami Vivekananda University, are doing extremely good, extremely well. Most of the institutions, most probably, are faltering. Therefore, it is imperative on our part to together address the recommendations of the Justice Verma Commission in the form of Regulation 2014. I will not get into details, these are available on our website. What I will simply highlight some of the very foundational, fundamental recommendations and implementation strategies that might transform teacher education in the country. These are very serious issues, these are legally tenable, and therefore we need to do that. Any faltering of that might invite legal litigation and therefore the closure of the institutions. If my media colleagues are present here, I must very categorically point out I have been engaging with the Tamil Nadu government and Tamil Nadu private teacher education associations and Tamil Nadu Teacher Education University more particularly to ensure that Regulation 2014 is implemented by the state of Tamil Nadu. Unfortunately, it could not, but thanks to the Honorable Chief Minister, that the government of Tamil Nadu has already circulated a GEO stating that all the institutions, including physical education, of which Professor Murthy is leading, would conform to 2014 regulations, meaning thereby quite a few things that I will present right now. It is important that we get into the new teacher education system, good or bad. Some of the innovative measures have come up, and therefore let us try to experiment and see whether this could really transform teacher education today. Quite a few things I will say towards the end, which teacher education, which I have failed to understand how to tackle. Maybe I will put up to you, and sometime you might give us feedback at how best we can address. And that would concern, more particularly as a signpost, I must say, our own professional ethics. As you see on the screen, after +2, after graduation, after +2, we have 6 programs in place. A diploma in elementary education of 2 years, a diploma in preschool education for the creches and kindergartens of 2 years, a diploma in visual arts for 2 years, a diploma in performing arts for 2 years, a diploma in physical education of 2 years, and a diploma in elementary education through open and distance learning for 2 years. After graduation, as you would see, that the duration of most of the programs has increased. This has been intentionally done because there has been a long-term criticism that is the only professional education, that is teacher education, which is providing professional qualifications with the shortest time possible. And therefore, there is a need that the duration has to increase. Therefore, the would-be professionals would get time to engage more in intensive and in practice and in community activities. This is precisely the regulation 2014 that you see the programs after graduation. A Bachelor of Elementary Education of 4 years after +2, we are rolling this time as a flagship national program. We encouraged universities to apply for these programs. An elementary 4 years program. A B.Ed, which has become 2 years. Bachelor of Physical Education has become 2 years. The B.Ed open and distance learning still remains as 2 years. We have introduced a 3-year B.Ed part-time. We have introduced this is of course after +2, a BA B.Ed, BSc B.Ed of 4 years. That a graduate degree along with a teacher education second graduate degree within 4 years, which one could complete in 5 years. After completion, one could become a trained graduate teacher. One could still do an M.Ed, and legitimately, legally, through University Grants Commission Gazette notification, one can do an MSc or MA in any part of the university in the country. We have an M.Ed of 2 years, Master of Physical Education of 2 years, and since B.Ed and M.Ed of 2 years each, we have rolled out an integrated B.Ed, M.Ed of 3 years. These are all recognized by the University Grants Commission. Because we introduced the 2 years BP.Ed and 2 years MP.Ed, therefore the University Grants Commission has de-recognized and abolished the existing 3 years Bachelor of Physical Education and 1 year of Master of Physical Education. We are still arguing with the University Grants Commission that physical education as a discipline must continue in the form of maybe health sciences or maybe in the form of sports sciences. These are under consideration, but for 2015 and 16 session, all the physical education departments are closed in the country and all have shifted to a 2 years BP.Ed and 2 years MP.Ed program. We are thinking with this formula that tomorrow institutions will become multidisciplinary and composite. A single institution with a single teacher education program will be abolished. 2, that more integrated teacher education programs with vertical and horizontal shifts and linkages will be in place. Therefore, not surprising that tomorrow in physical education, after +2, we might bring in a 4-year integrated graduate cum physical education program and a 3-year integrated BPEd, MPEd program, which are under consideration. And Professor Murthy, who is chairing our committee, I have requested him to kindly consider these. Vis-a-vis the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Vivekananda University categorically and very emphatically and with a visionary leadership pointed out some of the very fundamental, which are fundamental to higher education reform today, including the choice-based credit system, which is already in place. The credit-based, modular-based, vertical horizontal linkage-based, practice-based programs in teacher education should be in place. Therefore, not surprising that in future we will get into the very mind-boggling changes in teacher education, which people, the great educators, including my own teachers, not exactly Professor Mani, but my teachers in the country are resisting. I've been fighting with them, so-called progressive teachers. I've been fighting all through. I will continue my fight as long as I'm at NCTE. Then otherwise I will have my morning and evening work. I need not fight. So as long as I'm there, which I've lost, my morning and evening work actually I have lost, and therefore I must continue my fight. And I do my fighting with full conviction, with full clarity, and with full truthfulness. And therefore, I have a faith and belief that we will succeed. The proposal is like this, that in future, we will get into a system of teacher education which will be credit-based, which will be blended, which can be taken up any point of time in life, which can be taken up anywhere, which can be taken up in any form, any combination of forms, and which will be leading to, through credit accumulation, from a wider basket of credits that are available vis-a-vis the professional development needs and the courses or learning resources that will be made available. This is point number 2. Point number 3, that we are getting into, as you see on the screen, a word called transparency. Teacher education today is not transparent. Whatever is happening within the classroom, whatever is happening within the institutions, whatever is happening by the regulator, and whatever is happening by the governments, and most probably all the stakeholders, is not transparent. Therefore, we are committed to bring in 100% transparency to teacher education in the country. We have started work. We have requested institutions to do 3 things immediately. And this has to be done legally. Otherwise, this might invite the recognition of the institution. One, that we have a GIS system on the place. We have an extremely dynamic and transparent website in place now, with online grievance redressal system, with online RTI system, and with an online GIS system, with longitude and latitude of the institutions, meaning thereby the institutions themselves will declare all the parameters, variables that we would like them to declare, including how many are graduating from the teacher eligibility test from that institution, the graduates that are coming out of those institutions, how many are actually passing the teacher eligibility test. This is a very pathetic situation. The institutions will have no right to exist if they are allowed to continue from where not a single graduate is passing a teacher eligibility test to actually become a teacher. Therefore, we would take a very serious view that graduates from the institutions largely pass the teacher eligibility test, which is a mandate given to NCTE under Right to Education 2009, and which is being reviewed in 2015 this year. Therefore, under transparency, the institutions will put up all of their data, including longitude and latitude. Therefore, we can, through Google, reach the institution building, classroom, and we can see what exactly is happening. 1. 2, they have to put up all the parameters that we would like them to put up on their website about the institution. 3, they have to provide all the faculty database on the website, including digital photograph, Aadhaar card number, PAN card number, and bank account number. All the 3 they have to put on the website. 4, that they have to finally declare that whether their recognition order was original or not. If they declare it is original, which some of them are not, they are liable for prosecution. So we at NCT are waiting for almost thousands of court cases in future. We are ready for that. But once for all, this should be settled, that the FAC institutions will not be permitted anymore to exist in this country. This is part of transparency. Further to transparency, we are getting into e-governance, that all the processes of NCTE, including visiting team, would be put online in the public domain for anyone to see and anyone to scrutinize. We had the regional committees where visiting teams were decided and were deputed, reports were discussed and finalized, and recognition orders were given. We have withdrawn legally from the regional committees. We have said we will develop a centralized database which will be computerized, randomized selection system, that not even the chairperson of NCT will have the liberty to have a choice to select a visiting team. And therefore the computer will select the visiting team. But एक चीज़ मुझे समझ में नहीं आता है, हिंदी तो समझ में आता होगा ना, एक चीज़ मुझे समझ में नहीं आता है. These professors, I'm asking the professors of education today, that as visiting team, transparency कब लाएंगे? As visiting team, the professors of education has been corrupting teacher education in this country. I challenge the professors of education and would-be professors and teacher educators, kindly cooperate with NCTE and kindly cooperate with the quality of future of teacher education in this country. Visiting team is one of the serious problems insofar as teacher education in this country is concerned. I have no idea what kind of transparency except professional ethics would be in place for visiting the team to address this issue. But this is just the core of the issue. The fundamental issue is reforming teaching and learning in teacher education, which is almost dormant in this country, which is almost traditional in the country, which is almost vague in this country, which is almost non-practice oriented in this country. Theory and practice of teaching and learning are completely different. Whatever is happening within the classroom doesn't translate into action insofar as school teaching is concerned. And therefore, what best we can do to address, I will invite your suggestion, your advice, that what best we can do to actually translate theory into practice. I will put up a few that we have considered which might contribute to reforms in the teacher education in the country. In accountability, I have already said that the visiting teams will have accountability, regional committees will have accountability, different committees, they will have accountability, the teacher education institutions will have accountability, the faculty members will have accountability, and the students who will be studying in these institutions will have accountability. Accountability built into the process. Every year we will do an e-monitoring, and every 5 years we have said that all the institutions have to go through the process of accreditation once in every 5 years. So we are following a model whereby we will do, as you see on the screen, we will do hand-holding. Please, screen please. We will do hand-holding. Screen please. We will do hand-holding, which we are doing. We will do orientation, which we are doing. We will recognize. We will do a process of e-monitoring. Finally, accreditation, inspection, and the last word, which was not in our regulation, withdrawal. We will close down institutions. We are changing NCT Act. NCT Act doesn't permit to close down an institution. Once it is open, it will continue. We are trying to change the NCT Act. Of course, it will be a long-run process through the Parliament, but still we are hopeful that, including some of the very important factors that NCT Act deals with, including closure of the institution, will come forward and will be in a position to close down or withdraw recognition from the institution. Continuing professional development, therefore, will be the buzzword in future. what we are engaging with teacher educators, especially the stakeholders of teacher education today, is that we NCTE, besides regulation in any case is not a bad word or bad process. Regulation is about determining the minimum quality through various norms and standards which are legally tenable, which cannot be legally challenged. This is what a regulation does. And therefore, besides the regulation, we have committed that we will come out of the way to engage with teacher educator, would-be student teachers, would-be teachers, and the policymakers to see that teacher education reform actually takes place. A few words about curriculum reforms. With longer duration programs in place, it is very disheartening to note that I'm not sure about Swami Vivekananda University. It is very disheartening to note that most of the universities do not understand the National Curriculum Framework and the National Curriculum Framework for Teacher Education 2009. When we did a survey, we found that most of the universities which are affiliating bodies and most of the SCRTs which are affiliating bodies for DIETs and DEA-led institutions, in fact, do not know about the National Curriculum Framework for Teacher Education. Therefore, what we have done from this year very systematically, that we have developed curriculum frameworks for longer duration programs. Professor Murthy and colleagues have been doing for DED, DPED, BPED, and MPED, which are already available on the website. They are finalizing the longer duration BPED 2 years curriculum. We are also developing detailed syllabus. We are also developing learning resources, including on Swami Vivekananda. We have divided curriculum into 3 parts. Very categorically, very systematically, we are orienting universities on that. Theory, practicum, internship. Therefore, in a 4-semester B.Ed program, 1 semester equivalent will be internship, compulsory internship in the school. 6 months of full-time compulsory internship in the school. That comes to about 20 weeks. 20 weeks is 5 months. This is an experimentation. There is no way out. इतने सस्ते में किसी देश में टीचर एजुकेशन नहीं चलता है. इतने सस्ते में, सस्ते का मतलब पैसा का नहीं, इतनी कम कीमत में, कम काम में टीचर एजुकेशन किसी देश में नहीं चलता. It is only South Asia that teacher education is extremely poor. Therefore, it is important that this would-be teachers engage with the community, with the field, with practice, and with school-based activities, learning all the nitty-gritties of the school activities, school management, school budgeting, school co-curricular activities, school politics, school climate, everything they must learn to empower themselves to be a good, competent teacher. And therefore, if they imbibe properly, they could contribute properly. Theoretically doing that within the classroom as a laboratory doesn't really help. And therefore, it is imperative, legally compulsory for all the institutions to have internship of 25% of the duration of the program. 2, we have legally said that for the first time, 4 areas of study would be made compulsory in all teacher education programs: preschool, primary, elementary, secondary, senior secondary, art education, physical education, distance learning. Information communication technology, to learn about ICT and to teach through ICT. We are devising mechanisms how to do that. We'll be facilitating institutions to do that. The first step is we have made it compulsory for institutions to have a dynamic website and also to develop a state-of-the-art laboratory. Government institutions may fail to do that, but most of the private institutions have already done that because there is no way out. They have to survive. So therefore, this is the minimum investment that they need to do. Information communication technology. Second, yoga education. This is the only regulator, I must say. I'm extremely grateful to Swamiji. This is what the curriculum design, very systematically we are doing and we are implementing. January 12, Vivekananda Jayanti was declared as the National Youth Day by the Government of India, and therefore NCT celebrated for the whole country the National Youth Day to have a lecture, Educational Thoughts of Swami Vivekananda in the Perspective of Emerging Teacher Education by Professor Aniruddha Deshpande from Pune. We have continued, and I'm extremely happy to say that Swamiji delivered the foundational lecture in Guwahati just a few days back with Professor H.R. Nagendra, Chancellor, Swami Vivekananda Yoga University presiding. This is an interesting movement that I went to. I have told my colleagues, including those who are in power, that please note that very silently NCT has made yoga education compulsory in the country. No one has done that, but we have never advertised for that. And I have committed to them, very silently, I have committed to them. It is not only Vivekananda in the series, this is my commitment, otherwise my personal commitment. My father is a sadhak. He is a sadhak of Sri Aurobindo. He has created his own ashram school with a trust. He is doing it. So far so good. And he is a practicing sadhak. Therefore I thought it is imperative that starting with Swami Vivekananda, who is a political, who is a secular, who is a religious, we started with that. And I do believe, as a student I have studied, I was told some 21 volumes of Swami Vivekananda. I started reading, I couldn't understand as a student. Later on I didn't get a chance and time to study. Now I commit that with this module coming up, that we will, all teacher educators and would-be student teachers in the country, 14 lakh teachers would be coming out every year, would study Swami Vivekananda. It is part of the curriculum. Two, we are also bringing out in B.Ed, we have already included Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya, Sant Kabir, Sri Aurobindo and the mother, Bharat Ratna Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Dr. J.P. Naik, Dr. D.S. Kothari. That's what we have committed this year. And Vinoba Bhave. This is what we have committed this year, that we will bring out series following Swami Vivekananda to make it part of the curriculum of teacher education. This is just a simple beginning to bring in indigenous knowledge into the core foundational discourse of teacher education in this country. I have been arguing otherwise. I'm not a leftist, nor am I a rightist, by the way, but I have been arguing with my colleagues in the council that very clearly tell us categorically that all the models, all the sources of knowledge, all in the name of scientific knowledge, all in the name of objective knowledge, comes from only the Western world. There is nothing like an Indian knowledge. Therefore, I have committed. Just a few days back, we have been initiated with Swami, he is from the Chinmaya mission, specializes in Upanishad. We will start a series, the teachings of Upanishad for teachers and teacher educators. We have already initiated that. We'll be doing it legally, and we'll be reporting to Honorable Supreme Court. And through that, we will ensure that some of the best, and in psychology, we are trying to bring in the foundational Indian psychology, very scientific. I never knew that Swami Vivekananda University is also, today I came to know, is engaging scientifically with indigenous knowledge. I visited last time Kaivalya Dham in Lonavala, which is one of the oldest yoga schools in the country, and I visited the laboratory, and the laboratory they're experimenting Indian psychology, yoga and human life. If that is what it is, we would like to engage with this more and bring in the indigenous knowledge, not in the form of simply indigenous knowledge as a religious practice. I'm not for it. That doesn't in fact work. That doesn't work. I'm sure it doesn't work. What scientifically we would like to bring in and parallelly put up to Western psychology, that Indian psychology works, and Indian psychology has meaning today in life, and therefore Indian psychology could contribute, including yoga, to contribute to practice of human life today. And therefore it is not surprising that we have made yoga compulsory in the country. 3 modules are available in front of you. DL.Ed, B.Ed and M.Ed are already available. We are making those available to all the 18,000 institutions in the country, and yoga education is compulsory. Yoga education is also divided into 3 parts: theory, practicum and intensive. All the 3 are related to yoga education. Following these, we'll be developing video programs and so on and so forth. And gradually, I should not spell it out unless we do it actually, we will be taking towards web-based and e-resources, and finally to MOOCs, to ensure that everybody gets an access to that. That's our idea. We have already started with the help of University Grants Commission and e-M.Ed. So tomorrow we could get into a blended program. If some people are interested to do an e-M.Ed, or combine e-M.Ed with full-time classroom teaching, they are welcome. They must have the liberty to do that. So also in physical education, art education, preschool education, and so on and so forth. One important that you see on the screen, one important aspect, I must also underline that besides ICT, yoga education, we have also made 2 other areas of study as compulsory: gender studies and disability or inclusive education, for which we have made a faculty as an assistant professor made available. And for yoga education, we have said an MP.Ed with experience in yoga. Because today we do not have a certified yoga teacher and teacher educator which comes through norms and standards and regulation. We do not have that. And if Swamiji helps us, NCTE, we would like to have 2 kinds of teachers compulsory. One to be regulated by Rehabilitation Council of India, the special education teacher. Hopefully the other could be regulated by NCTE, the yoga teacher in the country. So yoga teacher educator, and yoga teacher education institutions in future should become a compulsory part of every schooling system, and therefore teacher education system in the country. What you see on the PowerPoint transparency is a very interesting, this is an Indian guy who in Columbia University, they have come out with a very serious word which talks about, in very simple terms, talks about, and which Professor Mani has already in fact implemented in special education, that is domain knowledge, subject, pedagogy, how to teach, technology, what technology to be used with what methodology to teach that content. The knowledge that teacher and teacher educator today needs to have, must have in fact, is domain knowledge, pedagogic knowledge, technology knowledge. Not knowledge about technology, but knowledge about technological pedagogical content knowledge. This is what is coming up, and therefore if future teacher education as a methodological discourse, as a methodological stance could move towards that direction, that will be an important contribution to teacher education and the quality of future teachers and quality of future students in this country. I will talk about 2 things before I conclude. One, I consciously omitted talking about Swami Vivekananda's teachings and drawing especially from Chandogya Upanishad. While Swamiji, the other Swamiji was presenting on Upanishads, which I understood as the functional reality of the Vedas. If that is so, One thing that got into my attention from Chandogya Upanishad was the pedagogy of dialogue and the pedagogy of demonstration. That's what Chandogya Upanishad talks about. The pedagogy of dialogue and the pedagogy of demonstration. Dialogue with oneself, dialogue with peers, and dialogue with the Guru. My conviction is that to what extent, and therefore I need your help, that to what extent we can introduce in the practice of teacher education both dialogue with self. Unless I have dialogue with myself, I am not empowered to have dialogue with my peers, and certainly I do not have ability to have dialogue with my Guru. Therefore, most important is that I must have dialogue with myself. What could be the methodologies that could facilitate us to induce, sustain, and implement dialogue in teacher education, therefore in teaching and learning? 2, demonstration, that how best I could demonstrate to myself, I could demonstrate to my peers, I could demonstrate to my Guru for assessment, and therefore I can translate that demonstration in my teaching learning as a teacher. This too, as I'm deriving from Chandogya Upanishad, how best we could. I was trying to relate that, this is no time to relate that to the discourse of constructivism and social constructivism today. As students of education, you must have appreciated the modern day philosophy and therefore educational practice of constructivism and social constructivism. That's what already Swami Vivekananda ji talked about, that every child is unique, every child has potentiality within, therefore it is up to us to make him or her self-aware and to facilitate that child to discover that potentiality and bring it out. That's what I understand. That's what Swamiji talked about. Therefore, to what extent can we bring back, whether in the name of modern constructivism or in the name of that dialogue and demonstration, where each child is unique, into the process of teaching learning? This is a challenge I am throwing to teacher educators of this country. If they would like to engage, I will invite them to engage with this kind of discourse rather than doing unfair means as visiting team. That's what I would like to challenge my teacher educators today. This is a reality, this is a fact. We cannot do away with that. As visiting team is a real, so tomorrow dialogue and demonstration must be real in our teaching learning process. 2 things I will say before I conclude. We have initiated seriously this e-governance. We have a dynamic website. We are getting into office automation, digitization of records, online application including visiting team, centralized visiting team database, computerized, randomized, transparent selection process, a dynamic institutional and faculty website, and finally a geographical information system, a GIS system. Therefore, in accreditation quality assurance, we have already designed, we are in dialogue, and some of the things we are starting implementing. 1, we have regulations in place. 2, office automation is in the process. 3, curriculum frameworks and syllabus are already in place. 4, that we would like to engage more to develop a rubric of competency mapping of teachers and teacher educators in this country. This will be the basis on the basis of which any kind of assessment would start continuing. Unless we have a dynamic database of competency mapping of teachers and teacher educators at different level, it will be impossible. In fact, whatever we'll be talking about, including policy formulation, will be at the theoretical level. We will not be in a position to implement that. 5, we are into e-monitoring. 6, we are an MOU with NAAC to do accreditation. 7, and most important, that we are finally leading to develop a national teacher education qualifications framework. Just like National Skills Development Framework, the University Grants Commission is also seriously considering National Higher Education Qualification Framework. And therefore, it is not out of place for NCTE to move towards to finally develop a national teacher education qualifications framework, for which I have already put NCTE to the rigorous evaluation of ISO 9001. NCTE right now, sir, is in the process of ISO 9001. All my colleagues are panicking, but that's what it is, that we have to go through the process. The process will tell us how best scientifically, qualitatively we need to do. And if you put your heart into that doing, marvelous. Marvelous things come out. ISO 9000 is not about heart, it is about scientific processes. If those processes we can join with our heart and commitment, as Swamiji had been talking about, Swami Vivekananda, then certainly there could be some visible transformation in teacher education. Swami Vivekananda and men making, that's what you will get from this module. I will not talk about that. I have talked about Chandogya Upanishad. And finally, I take this opportunity to congratulate all 222 graduates and flag holders of this university who graduated today. And I'm very glad, I'm extremely glad, and I fairly sure that the graduates of today from this great university in disability management and special education and physical education and yoga will do their best in their life and contribute significantly to the development of our culture, our society, and our nation, and finally, for global development. I wish you very satisfying professional engagement and maybe further studies, and congratulate to you once again for your graduation. And once again, I sincerely thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor and management of Ramakrishna Vivekananda University for giving me this honor to be amongst you and to get inspired to do still better for teacher education in times to come. Sir, I must commit that we at NCTE shall be always proactive to engage with Swami Vivekananda University for betterment of education in general and for betterment of teacher education and teachers in particular. Thank you very much.
The core of the function, the conferment of degrees, is about to take place. I request the convocation marshals to take up their respective positions. I now call upon Dr. N. Muthaiya, Honorary Dean FDMSc, to propose the names of the selected students to receive their degree certificates.
May I kindly request Revered Vice Chancellor Maharaj to please distribute the mementos and certificates to the PhD scholars, MPhil, MEd graduates of the Faculty of Disability Management and Special Education of our university. Now I request all the PhD scholars to please stand up. I call upon Dr. Shruti Bobbade, PhD in Special Education, to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate and memento from our Vice Chancellor Maharaj. We congratulate her for all her best efforts. Next, I call upon Dr. R. Sri Priya, PhD in Special Education, to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate and memento from our Vice Chancellor Maharaj. We also congratulate her for her best efforts. Now all the PhD scholars, please be seated. I request the MPhil scholar, Sri Tamim Yahya Ali Muhammad, to come to the dais and receive the degree from Revered Vice Chancellor Maharaj. Next, I request all the MEd graduates to please stand up. The gold medal in MEd Special Education goes to Ms. S.R. Geeta. She is requested to come to the dais and receive a gold medal and a certificate of merit from Revered Vice Chancellor Maharaj. On behalf of all other MEd students graduated this year, 3 students will be receiving the degree certificate on the dais from our Vice Chancellor Maharaj. I request Ms. Anisha Grace Jose to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate. Next, I request Ms. V. Kaushalya Devi to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate. Next, I request Sri Panna De to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate. Thank you, Marai, for presenting the medals and certificates. Now may I request Professor Santosh Pandaji to present the medals and certificates to B.Ed and D.Ed students. I request all the B.Ed graduates to please stand up. The gold medal in B.Ed Special Education goes to Ms. Divya. She is requested to come to the dais and receive the gold medal and certificate of merit from Professor Santosh Pandaji. On behalf of B.Ed students graduating this year, 3 graduates will be receiving their degree certificates on the dais from Professor Santosh Panda. I request Ms. Revati to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate. Next, I request Pratibha Kanwar to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate. Next, I request Ms. Sarvendri to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate. All B.Ed graduates, please be seated. Now, diploma holders in special education will be receiving their certificates on the dais. The gold medal in D.Ed special education goes to Sri Dadekar Gautam Sadwaj. He is requested to come to the dais and receive the gold medal and the certificate of merit from Professor Santosh Panda. On behalf of D.Ed Special Education students of this year, 2 students will be receiving their certificates on the dais from Professor Santosh Panda. I request Sri Nitesh Chowdhury to come to the dais and receive the certificate. Next, I request Ms. E. Ilaveni to come to the dais and receive the certificate. Diploma holders, please be seated. Now, I request the Diploma in Sign Language Interpretation students to please stand up. The gold medal in Diploma in Sign Language Interpretation goes to Ms. Nitya. She is requested to come to the dais and receive the gold medal and certificate of merit from Professor Santosh Panda. On behalf of this diploma, 3 students will be receiving certificates on the dais from our chief guest. I request Prithvi Raj to come to the dais and receive the certificate. Next, I request Ms. Priyanka to come to the dais and receive the certificate. Next, I request Mr. Muthurathinam to come to the dais and receive the certificate. DASLI students, please be seated. Thank you, Professor Santosh Panda, for distributing the certificates and mementos.
May I request Dr. Mailswamy Annathurai, special guest, to please present the mementos and certificates to the PhD and MPhil scholars and MPed graduates of the GAPI. I request all the PhD scholars, please stand up. Dr. G. Kumaragurubaran, PhD in Physiotherapy, is requested to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate and memento from our special guest. We congratulate him for all his best efforts. Dr. B. Kamaraj, PhD in Physiotherapy, is requested to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate and memento from our special guest. We congratulate him for all his best efforts. Dr. S. Muhil, PhD in Physiotherapy, is requested to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate and memento from our special guest. We congratulate him for all his best efforts. Dr. G.B. Paul, PhD in Physiotherapy, is requested to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate and memento from our special guest. We congratulate him for all his best efforts. Dr. P.V. Anish Babu, PhD in Physical Education, is requested to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate and memento from our special guest. We congratulate him for all his best efforts. Dr. Dennis Robinson, PhD in Physiotherapy, is requested to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate and memento from our special guest. We congratulate him for all his best efforts. All the PhD scholars, please take your seats. I request all the MPhil graduates to please stand up. The gold medal in MPhil in Physical Education goes to Mr. Ananda Ghosh. He is requested to come to the dais and receive the gold medal and certificate of merit from Dr. Mailswamy Annadurai. On behalf of MPhil scholars graduating this year, 2 scholars will be receiving their degree certificates on the dais from Dr. Mailswamy Annadurai. I request Attirala Ramaya to come up to the dais and receive the degree certificate. I request T. Manigandan to come up to the dais and receive the degree certificate from our special guest. I request all the MPhil graduates to take your seats. I request all the MPEd graduates to please stand up. The gold medal in MPEd goes to Vignesh S. He is requested to come to the dais and receive the gold medal and the certificate of merit from Dr. Mailswamy Annadurai. On behalf of MPEd graduates, 3 graduates will be receiving the degree certificates on the dais from our special guest. I request Royce Timal A to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate. I request Vivek R to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate. I request Mahesh Babu to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate. MPEd graduates, please take your seats. I thank Dr. Mailswamy Annadurai, sir, for distributing the certificates and mementos. May I now request our special guest, Dr. A.M. Murthy, Vice Chancellor, Tamil Nadu Physical Education and Sports University, to please give the mementos and certificates to the graduates of the GAPI. The gold medal in BPEd goes to Jijendra M. He is requested to come to the dais and receive the gold medal and a certificate of merit from Dr. A.M. Murthy. On behalf of BPEd students graduating this year, 3 graduates will be receiving their degree certificates on the dais from revered Vice Chancellor of Tamil Nadu Physical Education Sports University. I request Kamaraj M to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate. I request Manigandan V to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate. I request Rajasekaran P to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate. BPEd graduates, please take your seats. I request all the BSc Physical Education graduates to please stand up. The gold medal in BSc Physical Education goes to Arun B. He is requested to come to the dais and receive the gold medal and the certificate of merit from our special guest, Dr. M. Murthy. On behalf of the BSc Physical Education students graduating this year, 3 graduates will be receiving their degree certificates on the dais. I request Vignesh G to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate. I request Sendil Kumar S to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate. I request Easwar to come to the dais and receive the degree certificate.
BSc Physical Education graduates, please take your seats. I request all the DPED holders to please stand up. The gold medal in the DPED goes to Mr. Ravi. On behalf of the DPED students, 3 graduates will be receiving the certificates on the dais from our special guest, Dr. A.M. Murthy. I request Gopala Krishnan P. to come to the dais and receive the certificate. I request Babu D. to come to the dais and receive the certificate. I request Pandian T. to come to the dais and receive the certificate.
Thank you, Swamiji and other dignitaries. We also thank the convocation marshals for their escort service. Now, oath-taking ceremony is about to begin. Flower volunteers, please stand up. Move to your position and form a straight line. Proceed forward and collect the flowers. Distribute flowers to the graduates seated in their respective rows. After distribution, please keep the plate beneath your chairs and be seated. The graduating students are requested to stand up and be ready. Please hold the flower in the Kurma Mudra as displayed on the plasma screen and keep the flower in the palm of your left hand and hold it at your chest level. The gist of Kurma Mudra is as follows. This mudra is used to make a mental resolve to uphold and protect the vows taken during the convocation ceremony. The significance of this mudra is that just as a tortoise, which when it withdraws its limbs inside, will not bring them out even if it be cut to pieces, the vows or the values and ideals should get firmly rooted in the graduating student, whatever his or her situation in life. This is the idea behind taking the flower in one's palm, holding them in Kurma Mudra. Dear students, pray to Mother Saraswati, concentrating on the meaning of the mantras being chanted.
May I now request revered Vice Chancellor Maharaj to administer the oath for the graduating scholars.
There are 5 mantras in Sanskrit. Not all of you may be able to understand the meaning originally. English meaning is also given. I will briefly read out that also. These 5 mantras have been coined on the same pattern as the mantras which were composed by Swami Ramakrishnanandaji, who was the direct monastic disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, for the benefit of spiritual novices of the Ramakrishna order who take the Brahmacharya mantras. Based on that, Swami Nirvedanandaji later on adapted these mantras to students who joined the Ramakrishna Mission institutions. So we have adapted those mantras to be administered to the graduates passing out of a university, so that when you go back from the university and become an ex-student, you will carry these mantras and the meaning of these mantras in your hearts and try to abide by them, follow them as far as possible in letter and spirit in your daily lives, collective and individual, and conduct. These 5 mantras are divided into 5 dimensions. They are devoted to 5 dimensions of the personality. As Swami Vivekananda said, physical, mental, intellectual, spiritual, and community life. The first mantra tells you to take care of the physical body and live a life which is healthy, free from disease, energetic, so that you will be able to serve the society and not be served by society. If you have a healthy body, you can remain useful to society. So that is the meaning of the first mantra. And every mantra has a small prayer to the Supreme Divine, by whatever name you call it. If you do not believe in God, even that is good enough. You have believe in some supreme power which is running the entire affairs of the universe as well as our own selves. I will read the first mantra. You just listen quietly and mentally think of the meaning. Shariramadhyam khalu dharma sadhanam iti niti vakyam avadharya shramakshama seva samartha niroga shariraya swasthya palana paro bhavitamaham yatha sadhyam yatishye. Prarthana. Tejosi tejomayi dehi viryamasi viryamayi dehi balamasi balammayi dehi ojosi ojomayi dehi manyurasi manyummayi dehi sahosi sahomayi dehi peshayo me lauhasama bhavantu snayavo me ayamsi iva bhavantu hridayam me vajrasaram bhavatu. The meaning, contemplating the wise dictum that the body is the first and foremost instrument for the practice of dharma, I will strive my best to follow all the rules relating to the maintenance of good health, to develop a healthy and strong physique that is capable of hard work and prayer and service. Prayer, O Lord, you are the embodiment of illumined understanding. Grant me a pure and luminous mind. You are the embodiment of fortitude. Grant fortitude unto me. You are the embodiment of physical energy and vitality. Grant me physical strength and vitality. You are the embodiment of ojas, life energy. Grant ojas unto me. You are the embodiment of indignation, anger against injustice. Grant me the strength to stand up against injustice. You are the embodiment of forbearance. Grant me forbearance. May I be endowed with muscles of iron and nerves of steel, inside which dwells a mind that is like the thunderbolt. Second mantra. Swadhyaya pravachanabhyam na pramaditavyam iti shrutivachanam avadharya swadhyaya parayano jnana yajna nishtha sarvada bhavitumaham yatha sadhyam yatishye. Medha devi jushamanana agat vishwachi bhadra swamanasya tvaya jushta nudamana duruktan brihadvadema vidhate suviraha. This is about study. Contemplating the Upanishadic dictum, namely, do not neglect study and teaching. I will always strive my best to be devoted to study, cultivation, and sharing of my knowledge with others. Prayer, may the goddess of Medha, Medha is a subtle intelligence capable of intuiting higher truths. May Medha be who is the source of all goodness and well-being, who is full of benediction, being delighted, come to us. O Goddess, may we, who have been enjoying useless speech like a gossip, rumor mongering, etc., before you came into our hearts, become enlightened by being blessed by you and become capable of engaging in elevating and ennobling discussions in the company of heroic sons and disciples and expressing the supreme truth. The third mantra is about truthfulness. All of you know Satyameva Jayate is a national motto. It is from the Mundaka Upanishad. Satyameva Jayate nanratam satyena pantha vitato devayanaha iti shrutivakyamavadharya kayena manasa vacha satyaparayano bhavitumaham yatha sadhyam yatishye asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma amritam gamaya. Contemplating the Upanishad dictum, namely, truth alone triumphs, not untruth. The divine path extends through truth. I will strive my utmost to be devoted to truth in all possible ways, in body, speech and mind. Prayer, from untruth, lead me into truth. From darkness, lead me into light. From death, lead me unto immortality. The fourth mantra is about selflessness. Parahitaya, pararthaya, yajivati, sayeva jivati, anyetu jivan mritaha, iti Srimad Vivekananda Swaminam sumahadvachanam samsmritya nichata, krurata, dambhikatadi, malina swartha santatir vihaya, udara cheta, vinayi, shraddhavan, nara narayana seva nishtho, bhavitumaham yatha sadhyam yatishye, yan yanavadyani karmani, tani sevitavyani, no itarani, atmopamyena sarvatra, samam pashyati yorjuna, sukham va yadi va dukkham, sayogi paramo matah, iti shruti smrityadesha vachana jatam tatha atmavat sarva bhuteshu sampashyet iti isha krishna vakyancha anusthayana parayanena sadaiva maya bhavyam. Meaning, remembering the wonderful great saying of Swami Vivekananda, namely, they alone live who live for others, the rest are more dead than alive. I will strive my utmost to renounce all debasing selfish emotions like pettiness, cruelty, conceit, etc., and become large-hearted, humble, endowed with Shraddha, and devoted to the service of all beings as embodiments of the divine. May I devotedly follow the following sayings of the Vedas and the Bhagavad Gita, as well as of Jesus Christ, and also try to live up to them. Only those works that are blemishless should be performed and not any other. Taittiriya Upanishad. O Arjuna, one who has the sameness of vision everywhere, looking upon everything, be it pleasurable or painful, as the image of one's own self, is the supreme yogi. Bhagavad Gita. Do unto others as you would, they would do unto you. The Holy Bible. The last mantra is about harmony and teamwork. If you work in a team or a community, you should cooperate with each other and try to give your best to the team. Suparichalita samhati shaktireva samaja kalyana nidanam ataha aikya pratishtha mulakan samhati shakti jagaranatmakan sangachadhvam samvadadhvam samvo manam sijanatam sahaviryam karavavahai ma vidvishavahai ityadi shrutyadeshan avadharya sadupaya parah sannaham samaja bhuktaihi sarvaihi aikyabadho bhavitum bahujana hitaya bahujana sukhaya yatha sadhyam yatishye. Meaning, the welfare of the society depends upon well-managed organizational power. Therefore, contemplating the following Vedic dicta that seek to establish unity of purpose and arouse the power of unified thought and action, namely, may you all march forward together, may your speech have a common focus, may your minds and thoughts vibrate in unison, may we strive together in a common endeavor, may there be no disharmony between us, I will always and in all circumstances strive my utmost to function harmoniously and with perfect understanding and unison with all my colleagues, co-workers and fellow travelers in life for the welfare of the many, for the happiness of the many. The concluding prayer that you may be able to live up to these vows. Sankalpeshu yeshu paramatma me sahayo bhavatu yesha me bhavatu shubhaya bhavatu shivaya bhavatu kshemaya tasmai paramatmane namaha om vishwani deva savitaru duritani parasuva om yad bhadram tanma asuva Om Shanti 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 Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Concluding prayer. May the Supreme Being always help me to be faithful to these vows which I have now taken. May He be compassionate and auspicious to me in my endeavor to keep these vows. O effulgent Being, remove all my blemishes and grant unto me all that is auspicious and good. Om, peace, peace, peace. May this whole exercise be an offering unto Sri Ramakrishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Graduating students, please be seated. The volunteers will collect the flower from you. The volunteers seated in the corner of each row will collect the flowers from the students in their respective rows. And stand one step away from your seats and form a straight line in the central passage. The volunteers of the western row are requested to proceed forward and offer the collected flowers at the feet of Mother Saraswati. Followed by the volunteers of the eastern row.
May I now request our revered Vice Chancellor Maharaj to present a memento to our respected Chief Guest, Professor Santosh Panda. Thank you, Maharaj. May I now request Swami Abhiramananda Ji Maharaj to present a memento to special guest Dr. Mailsami Annadurai. May I now request Swami Abhiramananda Ji Maharaj to present a memento to Vice Chancellor Swami Atma Priyananda Ji Maharaj. May I now request Swami Abhiramananda Ji Maharaj to present a memento to Vice Chancellor of Tamil Nadu Physical Education and Sports University, Dr. A.M. Murthy. Thank you, Maharaj. May I now request Brahmachari Paramartha Chaitanya Maharaj to present a memento to Swami Hariharananda Ji Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj.
I now request Dr. N. Muthaiya, Dean FD MSc, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Most revered Swami Atmapriyanand Ji Maharaj, Vice Chancellor, Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda University, Revered Swami Abhiramanand Ji Maharaj, Administrative Head of the Faculties of RKMU Coimbatore Campus, Swami Hariharanand Ji Maharaj, Officiating Registrar of RKMU, Brahmachari Paramatha Chaitanya, Assistant Administrative Head of 2 faculties of RKMU, Professor Santosh Panda, Chairperson NCTE, Dr. Mailswamy Annadurai, Director ISRO Satellite Center Bangalore, Dr. A.M. Murthy, Vice Chancellor, Tamil Nadu Physical Education and Sports University, Chennai, Swamijis, Brahmacharis, members of Management Committee of Vidyalaya, heads of Vidyalaya institutions, faculty members, parents, graduates, and guests, distinguished invited guests of Vidyalaya. It gives me immense pleasure to propose the vote of thanks at the closure of 10th convocation ceremony of very reputed Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda University, Coimbatore campus. At the outset, I extend my sincere thanks with pranams to Swami Atmapriyanand Ji Maharaj, Vice Chancellor, for welcoming the gathering, administering the pledge, distributing the certificates and mementos to graduates, and for very briefly highlighting how Ramakrishna Mission conceptualized the idea of university as envisioned by Swami Vivekananda. Thank you, Maharaj. My sincere gratitude is due to Swami Abhiramanand Ji Maharaj, Secretary Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya and Administrative Head of the Faculties of RKMU Coimbatore Campus, for having given a brief introduction about various activities of different faculties of RKMU Coimbatore Campus and the services rendered by these faculties through various courses offered. Thank you, Maharaj. Now I feel very much honored to express our sincere thanks to Professor Santosh Panda, Chairperson NCTE, New Delhi, for his consent to grace the occasion and to deliver the convocation address. He was focusing on the status of teacher education today and the programs recognized by NCTE and implementation strategies of reforms to be inducted into the teacher education system in terms of transparency, e-governance, accountability, and so on. He also enlightened our graduating students about the prime responsibility of engaging with our ancient best practices and integrating them with the present system of preparing teachers and teacher educators today. Thank you very much, sir. We are extremely grateful to you. அடுத்தபடியாக நமது மண்ணை சார்ந்த கையருகே செவ்வாய் என்ற புத்தகத்தை சென்ற மாதத்திலே வெளியிட்டு சிறகை விரிக்கும் மங்கல்யான் என்ற தலைப்பிலே பல பக்கங்களில் தன்னுடைய அனுபவத்தை பகிர்ந்து கொண்ட முனைவர் திரு மயில்சாமி அண்ணாதுரை அவர்கள் அந்த புத்தகத்திலே 10வது அத்தியாயத்திலே இந்த சாப்டர் ஆஃப் 10 ஒரு வெற்றி சூத்திரம் என்ற ஒரு சின்ன பத்தியை கொடுத்திருக்கிறார். உறவுகளிடையே செய்தி பரிமாற்றம் மிகவும் அவசியம். சொல்பவர் தெளிவாய் உரக்க உணர்த்த முயல வேண்டும். கேட்பவரும் கூர்மையாய் கவனிப்புடன் கேட்க விழைய வேண்டும். வாழ்வியலின் எல்லா தளங்களிலும் இது பொருந்தும். என்று அந்த பொருத்தத்தை நாங்கள் உணர்ந்தோம் ஐயா. உங்களுக்கு எங்களது நன்றி காணிக்கைகள். I also express my sense of gratitude to Dr. A.M. Murthy, Vice Chancellor, Tamil Nadu Physical Education and Sports University, Chennai, for having dealt with the topic emerging trends in physical education. In his address, he was highlighting upon the importance of fitness to common public, imperativeness of preserving clean sports environment, and need for developing a powerful leadership by productively exploiting the advancement in technology in physical education. Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful special address. I also express my sincere thanks to Brahmachari Paramatma Chaitanya Maharaj, Assistant Administrative Head, for his able guidance and leadership to carry out this convocation function. I also thank Swami Hariharananda Ji Maharaj, Officiating Registrar, for his continued support to the administration of Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda University. I also thank Assistant Administrative Head of the recently established Faculty of Agriculture, Education and Research, Swami Tatprabhanji Maharaj, for his presence here, and Treasurer of Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya, Swami Sagananji Maharaj, and Swami Kirti Pradhananji Maharaj, Deputy Controller of Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda University, for their presence here. My special appreciations and thanks to Professor Dr. Alagesan and all faculty members and students, especially volunteers who acted as marshals of GAPI and FDMSC, for their wholehearted support and having worked untiringly for the success of this convocation function. Our sincere gratitude is also due to all Swamijis, Brahmacharis, and management committee members, especially Mr. Rajendranna, Director of Finance, LMW, Dr. M.N.G. Manianna, former Dean of Faculty of Disability Management and Special Education, other guests and professors, and Sai Kumar Anna, the Principal, and Murali Anna, Principal of ITA, and Sai Kumar Anna, Principal of Maruti College of Physical Education. I extend my heartfelt thanks to every one of you, all the parents, relatives of all the graduating students of this Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda University. Thank you, one and all.